Less than 24 hours after the judge in Donald Trump's New York hush money case expanded the gag order, the former president seems to be daring the judge to hit him for violating. It almost feels like he wants the judge to sanction him. Remember, Trump is prohibited from attacking publicly the court staff, prosecutors, witnesses, and now District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Judge Juan Merchan's families. But that didn't stop him from posting a clip today from Fox News blasting the judge's daughter, essentially making Trump's argument for him.
And lastly, just on the massive gag order put on the former president of the United States in the Alvin Bragg case, the fact is the judge's daughter is a activist who works for Kamala Harris, and there was some dispute on whether she did have a picture up on a website with Donald Trump behind bars. That, to me, is something that if I'm Donald Trump, I'm a little concerned about, that the judge has a daughter who feels this way.
Except there is no actual dispute, right? He's referring to a false claim made by Trump that the judge's daughter posted pictures dreaming of Trump in jail. Judge's daughter had a social media account, which she stopped using about a year ago, stopped linking to any of her profiles. She created a new private account, and someone clearly has taken her account, seemingly in an effort to help Donald Trump by writing crazy stuff so he can quote it. And the profile picture, this is my favorite part on the account, is of a young Kamala Harris. Trump had gone as far as to share pictures of the judge's daughter. Bottom line, Judge Merchan's daughter has nothing to do with the case and definitely does not have Secret Service protection. But what's his objective here? Feels like he's daring the judge to sanction him. Maybe because he could then use it politically to portray himself as the victim. Again, back with us is Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo, you think he wants to get sanctioned?
I'm not so sure of that. Maybe, it's worked for him so far. But let's back up a second, Dan, if we can, and take a look at this case. This case involving the payoffs to Stormy Daniels is a bad case. It should not be 34 counts. It should be one count. It should not be a felony. It should be a misdemeanor. I understand his frustration. But he has been so dismissive, so pejorative, so absolutely offensive in attacking this judge and his family that he is daring the justice system. He is defying the justice. It's a bad case, never should have been brought. The federal authorities in New York decided not to bring it, and then the county DA took up the case, and now it's the first time a president of the United States or a former president has ever been charged criminally, and it's a lousy case. But still, you can't attack a judge and attack a judge's family. And there's a new motion filed by the defense in the last couple of hours in which they double down. They were denied the motion to recuse, to get a new judge in the case, get Merchan out and get a new judge in. They were denied back in August. And the rule is, from the Ethics Committee of the Bar in New York, the judge has to have a direct, personal, substantial pecuniary interest in the outcome of the case. None of that is true in this case. And so I don't know what his tactic is here, what his long-term goal is. He's not going to get rid of this judge. He's frustrated by New York State justice. Still, he has to have some respect for the
but here's the
justice
thing, Geraldo.
system.
I think this case helps him so much politically. Think about the options, right? He's acquitted, big win for him. It's a hung jury, big win for him. He gets convicted of a misdemeanor instead of a felony. We'll see if that's even possible. That would be a win for him because it would mean no jail time, and he could say that they lost. If he gets convicted of a felony, he may not even serve time. Even if he had to, he'd become the ultimate victim in this case. So it just seems to me this, from a political perspective, this is the case he wants. He wants this fight with the judge. He wants the judge to go after him because everything that happens in this case helps him politically.
This was an election interference case. He was supposedly paying off the porn star, and that is construed somehow as interfering in the election. It's a lame theory. It never should have been brought to this far. What he's doing, however, is showing a disrespect for the system. Maybe the people involved have brought it on, but still he has jumped to take advantage of it, and I think it is to his ultimate discredit, Dan.
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's going to be to his political advantage. We shall see. Geraldo Rivera, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.